Hey, Blended Family Nation. Once again, we're back as we are every day. You get new content, fresh content, things that make a difference in your family, in your household, because that's what USABFA is about. Today on Blended Family Nation show, we're bringing you the BIZ TAX GUY show with Dr. Randy Shepard. You saw him recently. He's back. Randy, good to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Dan. It's always good to be on USA BFA and one of America's foremost sources for helping blended families. Thank you so much.
Yes, Randy, thank you. And it's so great to have you because you're one of America's foremost business strategists, not only for families that you're serving here, but you also do, medium size and some bigger businesses with tax strategy and how to serve, how to save money. I mean, when it comes down to it, especially in these economic times, how can people save money? And later on, I know you'll talk about something you're doing for USA BFA members, but folks, we have the BIZ TAX GUY show here as part of USA BFA because not only do we have parenting and how to work with children and different programs that you watch, but every week we're bringing fresh content. BIZ TAX GUY is talking about how can we make you save money or maybe make money, and that's what Dr. Randy Shepard's about. And Randy, it's so great to have you. Last time you were on, the information I got back was, hey, that guy was really good. We want to hear about what he said about home businesses and creating and savings and
Okay.
deductions and how to pay our children and use that as a deduction and the kids get it, tax free. So one of the things we want to focus on, because that's what we do, is we do surveys and we say, hey, what do you want to hear about at USA BFA? Randy, you really excited a lot of people. And so can we expound on that a little bit more today and talk about home
Yeah.
businesses? For me, what I wanted, there's nothing better than a great family vacation, right? So folks, as you're listening to this, you've got an idea for a business in your mind. Randy can help you set it up. What's the right way to do it? So Randy, go ahead. Let's get them on a great vacation thanks to you.
Well, it's true. I was hired by a travel company at one time on how do you travel and get paid to do it. We also in that process we show people what does the IRS really say about the travel rules. And people literally, if you're going to do a lot of traveling, start a side business. I don't care if it's YouTube about your travels. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people will YouTube about their travels. You can become a travel agent. There are, there's all kinds of things you can do. But let me just say, Dan, you're absolutely right. There are ways that people can travel the world and write it off legally.
Yeah. And that's exciting because, like you said, even a YouTube channel these days, I have a great friend, a supporter of USA BFA, that his 17-year-old daughter has 125,000 followers on YouTube. She just started it in the last 2 years. And so this young 17-year-old is making money. And so there's so many different ways, but families, besides that, just traditional businesses that they could do, the tax write-offs, and then, like you said, travel, they can save there. But going, to that, whatever the business of choice they set up, they maybe brain hurricane with their family, have a family huddle, which folks join USA BFA, you get that family huddle package at no charge as a gift from USA BFA for joining. But they have, and they go, hey, let's try this, because they can try different types of businesses that they,
Sure,
what happens
sure.
is they get together, they learn how to work together, they make money together. Because if I'm a teenager, I'm going to be going into the workforce in a few years. They want to learn how to think from a marketing standpoint. What are costs? What's the best way to move forward? So they come to you, Randy, and say, hey, we got this idea. Help us set up our home business from a tax standpoint to save money.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're creating a course where people can go to and learn all about that, and I'll tell you more about that in other episodes yet to come. But yeah, and I always tell people, look, remember that if you have to qualify for a business, the IRS wants you to show the intent to make profit. Otherwise, and you brought this up last time, Randy, I think don't you have to show a profit 3 out of 5 years? And I said, well, you do if you have a hobby. And the 3 out of 5 years you show a loss, and all it is a hobby, and you don't care about profit. You're not in it to make a profit. That's where the hobby rules come in. But when you have the intent to make profit, So you're going to go out and your desire is to make money at it. Well, then you've qualified to have a business. Now, the IRS does also, and we'll share this in our course or future episodes. What do I need to show the IRS that I have intent to make profit? And let me just say, generally, it might be an inexpensive website. There are some free ones out there, business cards. But what they really want to see is, are you making any money? You don't have to make a lot of money, but you have to have the intent to make profit and the ability to prove that. And I would start off with just a sole proprietorship. And then as you start developing your business, you might consider other entities like an LLC, an S Corp, or a C Corporation.
Yeah, that's powerful because as people are brain hurricaning, I say it's better than a brainstorm as a family. It could be something,
Yeah,
everybody's got a cell phone. There's a lot of things you can do via the cell phone, or it could be even a lawn mowing business, or it could be there's
absolutely.
just a plethora of ideas. And we've got some experts that are small business focused, how to start a small business from and their ideas that they have. Then you come to Randy, like you said, you set it up. So okay, so let's say I picked my idea, I know what I'm going to do, and now mom and dad they want to pay their they got a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old, and they can do some things in the business. They pay them. Tell us about that whole benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's there's a couple of different strategies that you can use with paying your children. One of them is just straightforward. Let's say that you start a little business, and you got the kids involved. Now, one of the things that I hear is the first thing I hear is, well, what about the labor laws? Well, you don't have to worry about labor laws if you're the parent of a child because the IRS knows you're not going to put your child in with a big old chainsaw and all this kind of stuff. You're going to give them age appropriate responsibilities, and that's what they got to do. But you need to log what they do for your business. They could do a variety of things. I was just this morning talking to somebody, and they said, "Yes, I've got my grandchildren that come, and this person pays their grandchildren, not their kids, but their grandchildren, and they shred paper, they file, they do marketing through social media because a lot of these teenagers
Yeah.
know that. But there's a variety. There's a plethora of ideas. So don't let, if you're thinking about starting a business and you want to pay your kid, the reason you pay your kids is you can deduct whatever you pay them. And by the way, they can earn up to $15,000 each without having to pay taxes.
Boom. We need to repeat that. So, folks, if you got a home business, or I guess a person that has not a home business but a regular business, up to $15,000 they can pay that child, and that child doesn't have to pay taxes on it, and it's I guess a deduction on the business side.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's say you've got $100,000 business. You've got two children working, and you're paying one of them 15,000 for the year, the other one 15,000 for the year. That's a $30,000 deduction out of the business, but it's tax free to them. So you've not only got a tax deduction where you've lowered your own personal tax liability substantially, but now the government allows them to file as a single filer. So they'll file their own tax return. And because they made less than 50 or 15,000 or less, they don't owe taxes.
Yeah.
And so they'll owe some Medicare and some self-employment tax. Unless you employ them as a W-2, you'll still have to pay FICA, like Social Security and those, but there is a way around that, and that's for companies that are S corps, and that gets it into a whole other elaborate strategy.
And that's why,
But same principle.
yeah. And I know you'll talk about later, but we talked about you offering USABFA members a kind of a free session that you usually charge
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
Talk about this whole home business, family business deductions. So, okay, so wow, we got the kids, they're working, they're having fun, we're planning our vacation because we're making extra money, but now we got home. So, just
Mhm.
as you're sitting in an office, I'm sitting in a studio, the deductions for a home business, what are some of the ones that sometimes are overlooked or the real ones that we should always talk about?
Well, yeah. So if 51% of your administrative responsibilities are out of a home office, let's say it's an extra bedroom or it's a certain space, it must be exclusively used for business. Because that's the one rule the IRS is big on is the exclusivity rule. So you just use a portion of the bedroom or a one bed or a bedroom area, or maybe some more down in the basement. But you use that square footage, and then let's say it's 10% of the house. I'm just going to use simple numbers. You'll be able to write off 10% of your utilities, 10% of your real estate taxes, 10% of your mortgage interest, 10% of any repairs and maintenance. I just had a client that put new gutters and new fencing around her house. I said, nope, it goes in repairs and maintenance. So that's part of what you get to deduct. So 10% of all of that. The generator that they're looking to purchase, 10% of the cost of the generator is going to go into repairs and maintenance. And so imagine paying, and then all your cleaning products and things that you have to keep your office clean and all, 10% of all those products you get to write off. So it just begins to get big. And then you get to depreciate your house, a 10% of the house. So it just becomes an enormous tax deduction to the client.
And I think what a lot of people think is they hear out there, or I read it on the internet, so it must be true, that they should not do those things. But that's where you show them, hey, this is a legitimate, official,
Yeah.
authorized deduction. Don't worry about, because I know you would not let somebody get into an arena of anything that's risky. You're a very conservative, cautious man, but yet you're enthusiastic about taking advantage of the things because exactly all those things you listed. People go, "Oh, well, I heard the home office deduction doesn't fly." Well, I know
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
It does fly.
Well, I've heard it, it's usually from people that are not tax oriented. You're never going to I don't think you'll hear a CPA. CPAs don't get into tax strategies. So if you're upset that your CPA is not helping you, they don't see that as their job. I just need you to know that. So you need to come to someone like me, who's a tax strategist that is focused on and has done thousands upon thousands of tax returns and understands tax law. So yes, so Dan, I did have a magazine publisher say I had a friend of mine tell me, well, actually, it was an accountant, and the person wasn't a CPA, but it was accountant. Don't use the home deductions. That'll get you flagged for an audit. Well, I said, I do it. I've done it for golly, 30 some years. I've never been audited over. I've been audited, but not over that. It just, there's so much stuff out there. They say that, but these are old internal revenue codes that's been around for 40, 50 years. And so the IRS is very privy to it. But my point in that, and what you were alluding to, is that you need someone that's going to make sure you follow the internal revenue codes so that in the case of an audit, and it's not going to bring an audit, but in the case of an audit, it passes.
Yeah. And that's so true. And you noted it, and I know this to be true. There are people that are quote unquote tax preparers or like as you said, even sometimes CPAs really don't talk about the strategy, thinking through it. They just want to, they give their taxes to somebody at the end of the year. And those, I say with a smile, sometimes those people are just, I don't want to do anything at all that might cause an audit, because then that would make them have to go to an audit representing that person. And that's why I know you have people that actually do taxes, but you're the strategist. You really talk
Yeah.
about upfront and outfront. How do we strategize, which is different than just somebody that's preparing it or doing the tax form, because you're talking about, okay, when we get there, here's the things to be ready for. And there's so many things. Mileage. You talked about all the things with home. If you've got a home business, the mileage deduction is there. Gosh, right now, one of the things in the new tax code that was passed was, I don't, and you, an expert that you are, but the accelerated depreciation. Like if you
Yeah.
buy a camera or a computer, boom, it used to be over what? I don't know what it used to be, 3 or 5 years. Now it's boom. Tell us about that.
Yeah, generally you take equipment and you have to depreciate it based on the Internal Revenue codes. Usually 3, 5, 7, 15, up to 39 if you have commercial property years. But this year in 2025, Trump reinstigated it so that it's called 100% depreciation is what you're referring to. So if you're buying something related to the business, and I tell people, don't go out and just buy stuff. But if it's necessary or you see yourself having to buy it next year, go ahead and get it if you can afford it this year, because it's the 100% depreciation in 2025. Yeah,
So if I want to buy a computer for my home business,
correct.
let's say it's $2,000, I buy a nice one. So that you can depreciate that entire amount. Or if I want to buy, if I'm setting up my children in a lawn mowing business, I'm going to go out and buy a weed eater and a lawnmower and different things. Boom, right away. That's a first year deduction.
Yeah. So, I shared the intent to make profit. Here's the other phrase: whatever is ordinary and necessary for your business. Ordinary and necessary. So, they might want to write that down. So, if you have a lawn mowing business, lawnmowers are ordinary and necessary to be able to carry on that business. So, if you're buying some commercial, okay.
Well, this is exciting, folks. Dr. Randy Shepard, Biz Tax Guy. This is technology, right? This is why we're bringing you great content all the time, because this is what happens in family life, right? You're going along, you're excited, everything's going good, and then boom. Have you ever seen that saying by everybody has a plan and it's going good until boom, somebody hits you in the face? I think that was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson said that, and that's the way it is about family situations. Is everything's going along, and here there looks like Randy's back, but this is the way blended family life is, and single parent life. Everything's going good, kids are happy, marriage is happy, and then as Mike Tyson says, everybody's going good until boom, somebody hits you in the nose or the face. So we're back, Randy. This is great. It's a perfect analogy. And where we were talking about all the incredible things from a deduction standpoint. We were talking about mileage, computer, the accelerated tax benefits of buying a computer.
Accelerate depreciation.
Depreciation, right. The accelerated depreciation. So we're back, folks. Dr. Randy Shepard, Biz Tax Guy. And you can go to biztaxguy.com. You see it on your screen here. Randy has been a tax strategist helping small business, medium-sized business, and once in a while, some big people come to Randy and say, I need your help. And what he's doing with USABFA is for families and parents to help them, because he has a heart. He's been there, as I said, he's walked through in our shoes. And so we'll get back to, we're talking about creating home business or ways to save on taxes, ways for your kids to make money. But bigger than that, it's bigger than the money, because it's not about the money. To me, and probably for most people, it's about trying to create some synergy and connection and a bond in your family of doing something that's ours. It's this, hey, we got this business because we want to go to the beach, right? Or we want to go to the mountains, or we want to just take a family trip, and all these things you can make money with, besides buying tennis shoes and sportswear and things that kids might want with the money we make. But Randy, we're back. I think what we were talking about is in the deductions, all the different things that people don't think about.
Yeah, I think I was talking about the home office deduction and the different things, and then we were on accelerated depreciation, and I had a person that just got gutters and I think fencing, but you could add that in. So it really is a great year. And let me just say this: believe it or not, if you're looking to research business opportunities and you have a legitimate intent to research business opportunities, you can spend up to $5,000. That'll be a write-off on your taxes. The IRS will allow you to spend up to $5,000 just researching a business to see if it's going to be worth it for me. If,
Wow.
let's say you're looking into a franchise and you want to start a carpet cleaning business, and it costs you $5,000 in travel expenses and the meeting and talking with the people, and going and talking with the franchisees, whatever was ever's involved, up to $5,000 in just research. And even if you don't decide to buy the franchise, up to $5,000 is tax deductible.
Wow. I did not know that. And I will bet you 98% of the people watching this didn't know that. So if I'm a husband, wife, and I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and someone in Colorado in the mountains wants to talk to me about a business, a franchise, I could make that trip and to go research that and talk with them face to face.
So $5,000 per year to research a business. Yeah.
Wow. So see, there's so many things, folks. That's why USABFA has Dr. Randy Shepard, a Biz Tax Guy. And Randy, tell him, I know we don't want to take too much time today. We've had a lot of excitement and great things you've shared. To continue your offer to USABFA members, that if they join USABFA for the $47, which is less than $4 a month for all the tips they get and free things, but one of the things they get is you're going to do kind of a session with them. Tell them about that.
Well, absolutely. So for the next 10 people that join, they get an assessment, tax assessment, to see if I can help them. They normally pay for my time. It's going to be free. So for the next 10 people that join USA BFA, and Dan, you're going to have to help me with that. For the next 10 people that join USA BFA, I will do a tax assessment for free. Maybe they want me to look at their taxes to see if the CPA made any mistakes, or maybe they want me to do an assessment. Is there anything that you would recommend for me to do? So the next 10 people that pay $47 to join USA BFA, which is kind of really honestly a no-brainer. They're going to get a library of people like me that has great information, but I'll do it for free for the next 10 people.
And something like that to sit with a tax professional, people, anybody else out there would charge hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
I do.
And at the end of your session, they may say, "Well, we want you to help us on this home business or on our taxes. Can you guide us?" Yeah, then they'll enter into a relationship with you where you will charge them fees. But
Mm-hmm.
the initial thing, folks, is free. FREE, free, from BIZ TAX Guy, Dr. Randy Shepard. Randy, thank you. See, I learn things from you all the time, and that's what USA BFA is about: is to just having the light bulbs go off in everybody's head. They go, the bing. I didn't know that light bulb goes off in their head. Bing, bing. Whether it's parenting or tax strategy, that's what USA BFA Blended Family Nation show is about. Thank you, Randy. It's been great. In closing, anything you want to share? The 29 million households out there that are blended family households.
Well, I would like to say that, I heard a guy on Oprah Winfrey one day who was a tax strategist, and Oprah Winfrey had him on and talked about all the things that we all know, guys like me know, and women like me that do tax strategies. And Oprah got up and said, everybody go out and start a business, because Congress has spent millions of dollars approving things because the heart of American business are small business owners, and they hire more people than bigger companies. And so I say everybody ought to own a business. And it's not hard, it's not difficult, and we can show you how to do it here at USABFA, and just start it. Get some
Wow.
ideas, get the kids around the table, and let's talk about it.
You got to love that, folks. If that doesn't energize you or motivate you, and think about bringing your family together in a business and making some extra money and saving some money, that's it. That's what we do at USA BFA, trying to make the place you call home better. Somebody just yesterday called me and they said about USA BFA, and it was a woman, and she was going through a lot. She said, Dan, hope has a home, and it's USA BFA. And man, that touched me, because that's what we're about, is not only hope and encouragement, but the specifics of things like taxes and parenting and how to work with children and legal issues. So hope has a home, USA BFA. Thanks for watching. Randy, we'll see you next time. And folks, keep tuning in and share this. If you would like this, share this. I know we all know somebody that's in a single parent or gone through divorce, and if they're a single parent, one of these days they could become a blended family. That's why we serve single parents as well as blended family, step families. So like it, share it, and follow. Thanks for being with us. See you next time.